The emergency room at Harbor General Hospital never truly sleeps. Even at 1:47 a.m., the fluorescent lights buzz with the same sterile intensity they hold at noon. The waiting area sits half empty. A mother rocks a feverish child. An elderly man clutches his chest, breathing shallow. The night shift moves through their routines with the practiced efficiency of people who've seen it all before. In the corner, restocking a supply cart with methodical precision, works a woman most people barely notice. Evangeline Blackwood, 34 years old. Blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Blue eyes that seem perpetually focused on something just beyond what everyone else can see. She wears standard blue scrubs, no different from any other nurse on the floor. No jewelry except a plain silver watch. No makeup. Nothing that draws attention. She's been working here for 3 years. Most of the staff know her name, but few know anything else about here. She arrives exactly 15 minutes before her shift. She leaves exactly when it ends. She never joins them for drinks after work. Never shares stories about her weekend. Never complains about difficult patients or impossible doctors. Eva moves through the hospital like a ghost, which is fitting considering she's been dead for 13 years. She doesn't think about that anymore. Not consciously. The past is a door she welded shut a long time ago. But sometimes in quiet moments like these, when her hands are busy with mundane tasks and her mind wanders, fragments slip through. The weight of a rifle, the taste of desert dust, the sound of a teammate's last breath. Eva's jaw tightens. She closes her eyes for exactly 3 seconds. An old technique. Count to 3. Breathe. Return to the present. When she opens her eyes, the memories have retreated back behind their locked door. She finishes restocking the cart and checks her watch. 2:03 a.m. The shift crawls toward dawn with agonizing slowness. These are the hardest hours. Too late for most accidents. Too early for the morning rush. Time moves differently in the space between midnight and sunrise. Minutes stretch like taffy. The automatic doors at the ambulance bay remain closed. The trauma rooms sit dark and empty. Even the drunk in Bay 3 has finally passed out, his snoring a steady metronome in the quiet. Eva considers making another pot of coffee when she hears it. A sound that doesn't belong. It's faint at first, distant, but Eva's hearing is trained for anomalies. While everyone else in the ER continues their work oblivious, she tilts her head slightly, listening. There. Helicopter rotors. Her body goes absolutely still. That sound, it's been 13 years since she heard it outside of a war zone. 13 years since the thump, thump, thump of rotor blades meant anything other than a medical transport. But this isn't a medical helicopter. The pitch is wrong. The rhythm is military. Fast attack configuration. Apache maybe Blackhawk. Coming in low and fast. Every muscle in Eva's body tightens. Her right hand moves unconsciously toward her hip, reaching for a weapon that hasn't been there in over a decade. She catches herself, forces her hand back to her side, takes another breath. You're not there anymore. You're in San Diego. You're safe. It's just a coincidence, rhythm. The rotors grow louder for a moment, then fade. Passing overhead, probably heading to Miramar or North Island. Nothing to do with her. Eva releases a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Blackwood, she turns. Dr. Marcus Sullivan stands in the doorway of the physician's lounge. 28 years old, fresh out of residency. Harvard Medical School, if his coffee mug is to be believed. He looks at Eva the way most young doctors look at nurses, as if they're furniture that occasionally talks back. Yes, doctor. I need vitals on the patient in Bay 7. Also, someone needs to restock the suture kits in trauma too. Get on that. Eva nods without expression, and right away. Sullivan doesn't wait for acknowledgement. He's already turning away, phone to his ear, laughing about something with someone who clearly isn't a nurse, asking him to restock supplies. Eva watches him go. She's learned to let comments like that slide off. Fighting back only draws attention, and attention is the last thing she needs. She's heading toward Base 7 when the night shift supervisor, Margaret Walsh, intercepts her. Margaret is 56, been working ER nursing for 30 years, and has seen enough to develop a sixth sense about her staff. You all right, Eva? Fine, just tired. Margaret studies her for a moment longer than comfortable. You ever think about taking a vacation? You've been pulling doubles all month. You're allowed to rest, you know. Eva manages a small smile. I rest better when I'm working. It's not a lie. Sleep doesn't come easy anymore. Hasn't for years. When she lies down, when she closes her eyes, when the world goes dark and quiet, that's when the past comes knocking. So she works. She takes extra shifts. She volunteers for holidays. Anything to keep moving, keep busy, keep the door locked. Margaret sighs but doesn't push. She's tried before. Eva always deflects. After 3 years, Margaret has learned to accept the boundaries Eva sets. All right, but if you need anything. I know, thank you, Margaret. Eva moves past her, checking on the patient in Bay 7, an older man, maybe 70, with chest pain that turned out to be severe heartburn. She takes his vitals with practiced efficiency. Blood pressure stable, oxygen good, pulse regular. She notes everything in his chart, offers him a reassuring smile, and moves on. The hospital returns to its quiet rhythm. Eva restocks the trauma room, changes linens in the recovery bay, updates medication logs, the mundane tasks of nursing that most people never see, the invisible labor that keeps the machine running. At 2:14 a.m., everything changes. The ambulance bay doors explode inward with a crash that makes half the ER jump. Two figures burst through, the first soldiers in combat fatigues, boots hammering against the tile, voices sharp with urgency. Move, 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 move. Behind them, a stretcher rockets through the doors so fast it nearly clips the frame. On it lies a young man, maybe late 20s, athletic build, visible even under the blood-soaked uniform. His face is pale as paper, his jaw clenched in a rictus of pain. His left side is a mess of shredded fabric and field dressings that have long since soaked through. But that's not what stops everyone in their tracks. Running alongside the stretcher, matching its pace stride for stride, is a dog. Not a pet, not a therapy animal, a military working dog, Belgian Malinois, 80 pounds of pure muscle and focused aggression. Its coat is dark, almost black in the harsh lights, its ears pinned forward. Its eyes locked on the man on the stretcher with an intensity that makes Eva's breath catch. Every step the stretcher takes, the dog matches perfectly. Its shoulder brushes the metal frame, never breaking contact, never looking away from its handler. The trauma bay erupts into controlled chaos. Margaret appears from nowhere, her voice cutting through the confusion. What do we have? One of the soldiers, young, maybe 23, with sergeant stripes and eyes that have seen too much, rattles off information while trying to keep pace with the stretcher. Navy SEAL, multiple penetrating trauma. Suspected internal bleeding, had BP, dropping vitals, unstable. Get him into Trauma 1, Margaret barks. Someone, Paige Sullivan, move. The stretcher careens toward the trauma room. Nurses converge from all directions. Equipment carts slam into position. Monitors spark to life with urgent beeping. But nobody can get close, because the dog won't let them. A young nurse, Emily, fresh out of nursing school, barely 24, reaches for the IV line. The dog's head snaps toward her. The growl that rumbles from its chest is low, deep, and absolutely terrifying. Not panic, not fear, pure threat assessment and protective instinct. Emily jerks her hand back, eyes wide. Oh my God! Someone get that animal out of here! Sullivan appears in the doorway, his earlier confidence replaced with something close to panic. This is a sterile environment, get it out. One of the soldiers moves to grab the dog. Maverick, stand down. Maverick lunges, not fully, not attacking, just enough to make his position crystal clear. His teeth flash white in the fluorescent light. The soldier jumps back, hands raised. He won't leave, the sergeant says, and there's something in his voice, respect, maybe even awe. He stayed with Lieutenant Reed through the whole transport. Wouldn't let the medics touch him until they proved they were helping. I don't care. Sullivan's voice climbs an octave. We can't work with a dog in the trauma bay. Someone call security. The security guard, already at the door, puts his hand on his weapon, not drawing, just resting there. Ready. His partner appears behind him, hand drifting to the same position. The atmosphere in the room shifts. Eva has been standing at the supply cart, frozen, watching this unfold. But now she sees where this is heading. She sees the fear in the young nurse's eyes, the panic in Sullivan's face, the calculation in the security guard's body language. They're going to shoot the dog. In another 30 seconds, maybe less, someone is going to make a decision that ends with a dead canine and a traumatized ER staff. And that soldier on the table, Lieutenant Reed, is going to bleed out while everyone argues about the dog. Eva sets down the gauze she'd been holding. She doesn't run, doesn't rush. She walks forward with steady, measured steps. Her heart rate hasn't increased. Her breathing remains even. She's done this before, a long time ago, in places where hesitation meant death and confidence was the only currency that mattered. Blackwood, what are you? Margaret starts. Eva doesn't acknowledge her. She moves past Sullivan, past the nervous nurses, past the security guards with their hands on their weapons. She approaches the stretcher from the side, keeping her body low, non-threatening. Maverick's attention swings to her immediately. The growl doesn't stop. If anything, it intensifies. But Eva doesn't flinch, doesn't retreat. She drops to one knee beside the stretcher, putting herself at the dog's eye level. Everyone in the room holds their breath. Eva looks at Maverick. Really looks. She sees past the aggression, past the protective instinct. She sees what everyone else has missed. This dog isn't being difficult. He's doing his job. The only job he knows. Protect the handler. Trust no one. Maintain the perimeter. Someone trained him well. Someone trained him the same way Eva was trained. She leans close to Maverick's ear, close enough that no one else can hear, close enough that the words are for him alone. When she speaks, her voice is low, calm, and carries the weight of authority that comes from years of command. Sierra 9-7, stand down, handler safe. The effect is instantaneous. Maverick's entire body goes rigid. The growl cuts off mid-breath. His ears swivel toward Eva's voice, processing, analyzing, recognizing something in those 6 words that overrides every other instinct. Then slowly, deliberately, he sits. The tension in his muscles releases. His head lowers, turning toward Lieutenant Reed's chest. He presses his muzzle against the blood-soaked uniform, gentle now, and lets out a soft whine. Not distress, recognition, confirmation. Handler safe. The trauma bay falls silent. Eva remains kneeling for another heartbeat. Her hand hovers near Maverick's head, but doesn't touch. Not yet. She's still establishing trust, still proving she's safe. The dog watches her with dark, intelligent eyes, assessing, deciding. Finally, Eva stands. She doesn't take her eyes off Maverick. Go, she says to the trauma team, her voice quiet but carrying absolute certainty. He'll let you work now. Nobody moves. They're all staring at her. Margaret's mouth hangs slightly open. Sullivan looks like he's trying to solve an equation that doesn't make sense. Even the soldiers are frozen, processing what they just witnessed. Move, Margaret snaps, jolting everyone back into motion. We've got a patient coding. Get those vitals. Start 2 large bore IVs. Someone get me O-negative blood. The trauma team swarms around the stretcher. Maverick doesn't growl, doesn't snap. His eyes track every movement, but he remains seated, pressed against the stretcher, his muzzle still touching Reed's chest. Eva steps back, away from the case, away from the questions she can see forming in people's eyes. She returns to her supply cart as if nothing happened, as if she didn't just speak a classified military code phrase that hasn't been used in active operations since 2010, as if the door she'd welded shut hadn't just been blown open. Her hands remain steady as she resumes restocking. They never shake. But inside, behind the locked door, 13 years of carefully constructed lies are beginning to crack. The trauma team works with desperate efficiency. Sullivan calls out orders, his earlier panic replaced with focused intensity. They cut away Reed's uniform. The damage is worse than the field dressing suggested. Shrapnel wounds across his entire left side, deep lacerations, possible internal bleeding. What the hell happened to him? Sullivan mutters. Training accident, one of the soldiers says from the doorway. His voice is flat, too flat. The kind of flat that means the truth is classified and the lie is mandatory. Sullivan doesn't argue. He's too busy trying to save a life. Evia watches from her position at the supply cart. She can see everything from here. The efficiency of the team, the severity of Reed's injuries, the pattern of the wounds. She's seen wounds like that before. Those aren't training accidents. That's combat damage. Fragmentation grenade, possibly an IED. The scatter pattern is wrong for a controlled training exercise. Someone either screwed up massively or Reed was in a real firefight that nobody's supposed to know about. Evia's jaw tightens. Whatever happened to Lieutenant Reed, it wasn't an accident, and somebody went to a lot of trouble to make it look like one. The surgery takes 47 minutes. Reed crashes twice. The trauma team brings him back both times. By the time they wheel him toward the surgical wing for definitive repair, his vitals have stabilized enough to give him a fighting chance. Maverick follows the gurney without being told. He doesn't interfere, doesn't get in the way, just maintains his position at Reed's side, silent sentinel, refusing to break his vigil. The ER slowly returns to normal. The adrenaline fades. The nurses return to their stations. The overnight patients continue sleeping, most of them unaware anything happened. But Eva knows normal is an illusion she'll never get back. She's cleaning up the trauma bay, disposing of blood-soaked gauze, and organizing the scattered equipment when she feels someone watching her. She turns. An older man stands in the doorway, 62, maybe 63. Tall, 6'2" at least, with a solid build that speaks of a lifetime of physical discipline. His hair is steel gray, cut military short. He wears plain clothes, but they might as well be a uniform. The way he stands, the way he holds himself, the way his eyes assess everything in the room before settling on her. Callahan Sterling, Cal to the people who know him, retired Navy hospital corpsman. Did his time in Gulf War 91, Somalia 93, a dozen other places nobody talks about. These days he works part-time consulting for the hospital, advising on trauma protocols, and training young medics. Eva has seen him around. They've never spoken beyond professional pleasantries. She's made sure of that. People like Cal, veterans with real experience, people who've seen actual combat, they have a way of recognizing their own. Cal doesn't approach. He just stands there watching her with eyes that have seen too much to be fooled by a nurse's uniform and a quiet demeanor. When he finally speaks, his voice is low enough that nobody else can hear. Sierra 97, that's a JSOC protocol, Joint Special Operations Command, specific to canine handling units assigned to direct action teams. He pauses. That protocol was retired in 2011, after the Ghost Unit incident. Eva continues cleaning, organizing, working, as if he hasn't said anything that matters. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Cal's tone makes it clear he doesn't believe her for a second. I worked with JSOC support elements back in the day, provided medical backup for operations in the Gulf. I saw Ghost Unit operators exactly once. They moved through our forward base like smoke, didn't talk to anyone, didn't need anything, just passing through on their way to do things nobody else could do. Eva straightens. She meets his eyes directly. If you have something to say, say it. Cal studies her for a long moment. Then he nods as if she's confirmed something he already suspected. I don't have anything to say, but if you need help, if things get complicated, you know where to find me. He turns and walks away before Eva can respond. She watches him go, her mind racing. How much does he know? How much has he guessed? More importantly, who else is going to make the same connections? Eva finishes cleaning the trauma bay. She updates the supply logs. She checks on her other patients. She does all the normal things a normal nurse would do on a normal night shift, but nothing is normal anymore. At 3:47 a.m., she hears it again. Helicopter rotors. This time they're not passing over. This time they're descending, landing. The building vibrates slightly as something heavy touches down on the rooftop helipad. Harbor General doesn't have a rooftop helipad. Eva's heart rate spikes for the first time all night. She moves toward the stairwell, drawn by instinct and dread in equal measure. Other staff members are looking up, confused by the sound. Margaret is already on the phone, probably calling security to ask what the hell is going on. Eva takes the stairs 2 at a time, 5 flights up. The roof access is supposed to be locked, but the door stands open. She steps out into the pre-dawn darkness. A Navy helicopter sits on the rooftop. Not a medevac, a transport. Military gray, no markings except a serial number. The rotors are still spinning down, creating a wash of wind that pulls at Eva's scrubs and sends her ponytail streaming. 4 men stand near the helicopter. Even in the dim light, Eva can read their body language. Military, special operations. The way they hold themselves, the way they've positioned themselves around the aircraft, these aren't regular soldiers. One of them is taller than the others, broader shoulders, commander's bearing. He turns as Eva approaches, and even from 30 feet away, she can see his face clearly in the helicopter's running lights. Commander Jonas Stryker. Eva's breath catches. She knows this man, knew him once in another life. He was younger then, fewer lines around his eyes, less gray in his hair, but the same intensity. The same razor-sharp focus that made him one of the most effective SEAL commanders in the Navy. The last time Eva saw Jonas Stryker was in a debriefing room in Kuwait 2 weeks before Operation Ghost Phoenix. He'd been coordinating joint operations between SEAL Team 6 and Ghost Unit. They'd worked together on 3 missions. Successful missions. She'd respected him, trusted him as much as she trusted anyone in that world. That was 2010, 13 years ago, in the life she's supposed to be dead from. Stryker sees her, even in the darkness, even with the distance between them. She sees the moment of recognition hit him. His entire body goes rigid. One of his men says something, but Stryker doesn't respond. He's staring at Eva like he's seeing a ghost, which technically he is. Slowly, deliberately, Stryker walks toward her. His men stay by the helicopter, hands near their weapons, alert and ready. But Stryker comes alone, each step measured, controlled. When he's 10 feet away, he stops. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then Stryker does something Eva never expected, something that makes her chest tighten and her carefully constructed walls threaten to crack. He comes to attention, full military bearing, and raises his hand in a perfect, crisp salute. Lieutenant Blackwood, he says, and his voice carries the weight of a dozen questions and 1,000 memories. Ma'am, I thought you were dead. Ava stares at him, at the salute, at the respect in his eyes, at the acknowledgement of who she was, who she used to be before she became nobody. She should deny it, should play dumb, should protect her cover. Instead, muscle memory takes over. Her spine straightens, her shoulders square, and before she can stop herself, she returns the salute with the same precision she learned 15 years ago. Commander Stryker, she says quietly, I was. They lower their hands simultaneously. Stryker's expression shifts through a dozen emotions in as many seconds. Shock, confusion, relief. And underneath it all, the professional assessment of a combat commander piecing together a tactical situation. Operation Ghost Phoenix, he says. It's not a question. Iraq 2010, the ambush. The entire unit was declared KIA. We pulled 8 bodies from that compound. Verified identities through dental records and dog tags. You found what you were supposed to find. Stryker's jaw tightens. Who helped you disappear? Eva doesn't answer, can't answer. There are still pieces of this puzzle that need to stay buried. People who took enormous risks to give her a second life. She won't expose them. Not even to Jonah Stryker. Why are you here, Commander? Stryker glances back at his men, then at the hospital below. Lieutenant Reed, the SEAL in your trauma bay. Do you know who he is? A patient who needs surgery. He's more than that. Stryker's voice drops even lower. 3 days ago, Reed was involved in what the official report calls a training accident, an exercise grenade malfunction. Bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. Eva hears what he's not saying, but you don't believe that. Reed is a good operator, careful, professional. He doesn't make mistakes with ordnance. Stryker's eyes are hard now. And 30 minutes after he was brought to this hospital, someone tried to access his patient records through the military medical database. Someone with high-level clearance who shouldn't need to know where a wounded SEAL is being treated. The pieces start clicking into place. Someone's trying to finish what they started. That's my assessment. Stryker looks at her directly. Reed was on a classified transport mission. Moving evidence. Documents that prove fraud in military contracting. Billions of dollars. People in very high places would prefer that evidence disappear. Along with anyone who's seen it. Yes, Eva processes this. Another cover-up, another conspiracy, another group of powerful people willing to kill to protect their secrets. It's the same pattern that got Ghost Unit killed. The same machinery that's been grinding up soldiers and operators for decades. What do you need from me? She asks. Stryker hesitates. I need to move Reed to a secure location, but his condition is critical. He needs medical monitoring, specialized care, and he stops. And Maverick won't leave him. The dog won't let anyone near Reed except you. I watched the security footage. That code you spoke, Sierra 97, that's a protocol nobody should know unless they trained with JSOC K9 units. Eva says nothing. Confirmation isn't necessary. They both know the truth now. I need you to come with us, Stryker says. Keep Reed stable. Help us move him safely. Once he's secure, once we know who's hunting him, you can walk away. Go back to your life. We'll protect your identity. Eva almost laughs at that. Protect her identity, as if that's still possible. As if the moment she spoke that code phrase, she didn't blow 13 years of careful anonymity. But she looks at Stryker's face and sees something she hasn't seen in a very long time. Belief. Trust. The same expression he wore in that debriefing room in Kuwait when he looked at Ghost Unit and saw people he could count on. People who got the job done no matter the cost. She thinks about Lieutenant Reed bleeding out in surgery, 28 years old, probably has a family, definitely has brothers in arms, men who depend on him, men he depends on. She thinks about the dog Maverick who refused to leave his handler even when facing down armed security guards. She thinks about Captain Hale, her team leader, who gave her a USB drive 13 years ago and told her to survive, to make them pay. Ava Blackwood has been running for 13 years, hiding, pretending, living half a life because the alternative was death. Maybe it's time to stop running. Give me 10 minutes, she says. I need to get my things. Stryker nods. Relief flashes across his face, quickly masked. 10 minutes. We'll be here. Eva turns and heads back toward the stairwell. Behind her, she can hear Stryker conferring with his men in low, urgent tones, making plans, calculating risks, doing what commanders do. She descends the stairs slower than she climbed them. Her mind is already 3 steps ahead, considering variables, assessing threats, falling back into patterns of thought she's tried so hard to leave behind. At the bottom of the stairwell, she nearly runs into Cal Sterling. He's standing there, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Helicopter on the roof, military commander asking questions, classified protocols being thrown around. He tilts his head. You want to tell me what's going on? Eva meets his eyes. No. Fair enough. Cal doesn't move. But I meant what I said earlier. You need help, you know where to find me. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Cal's expression softens slightly. I know enough. I know you spoke a code that saved that dog's life, and probably to Reed's too. I know Commander Stryker just saluted you, which means you weren't just any operator. And I know someone who's been hiding for 13 years doesn't do that unless the hiding is over. Eva wants to deny it, wants to deflect, but she's so tired of lying, so tired of pretending to be someone she's not. It's better if you stay out of this, she says quietly. Probably. Cal nods, but I've never been good at doing what's better. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a card. Nothing fancy, just a phone number written in neat block letters. Take it, just in case. Eva takes the card. Their fingers don't touch. She slips it into her pocket without looking at it. Thank you, she says. It's inadequate, but it's all she has. Cal steps aside, letting her pass. Be careful, Eva. Whatever you're walking into, be careful. She doesn't respond. She's already moving, heading toward the staff locker room. She has 9 minutes left. Her locker contains almost nothing. A change of clothes, a toothbrush, a protein bar. But in the back, hidden behind a false panel she installed herself, is a small bag she's kept packed for 13 years. Ready for the day she knew would eventually come. The day she'd have to run again, or the day she'd have to fight. Eva pulls out the bag. Inside, cash, fake ID, burner phones, and something she hasn't touched in over a decade. She unwraps the cloth carefully. The Sig Sauer P226 gleams dully in the fluorescent light. Loaded magazine. One in the chamber. Exactly as she left it. Some habits you never break. She rewraps the weapon and places it in the bag. Zips it closed. Changes out of her scrubs into dark jeans and a black jacket. Practical. Mobile. Anonymous. In the locker room mirror, she barely recognizes herself. Not because of the clothes, because of the expression on her face. For 13 years, she's worn a mask of calm professionalism. The face of a nurse. Someone safe. Someone forgettable. That mask is gone now. The woman staring back at her from the mirror has sharp eyes and a hard mouth. Someone who's seen combat. Someone who's killed. Someone who learned how to survive when survival meant doing terrible things. Ghost 07. Evangeline Blackwood takes one last look at the nurse's uniform hanging in her locker. That life is over. She knew it the moment she spoke those 6 words to Maverick. You can't unsay certain things, can't uncross certain lines. She closes the locker door and walks away without looking back. Margaret is at the nurse's station when Eva emerges. The older woman looks up, her expression shifting from concern to alarm as she takes in Eva's appearance. Ava, what's going on? Where are you? I have to go, Margaret. I'm sorry. Go where your shift doesn't end for 4 more hours. I know, I'm sorry. I have to leave. Now. Ava keeps walking. She can't stop. If she stops, if she tries to explain, she'll never leave. Ava, Margaret calls after her. At least tell me you're okay. Ava pauses at the stairwell door. She looks back at Margaret, kind, patient Margaret, who gave her this job 3 years ago without asking too many questions, who let her take double shifts when the nightmares got bad, who offered quiet support without demanding anything in return. I'm okay, Eva says. It's probably a lie, but it's the kindest lie she can offer. Thank you for everything. She doesn't wait for a response. The stairwell door closes behind her, muffling Margaret's protests. 5 flights up, the rooftop, the helicopter, Commander Stryker and his men waiting in the pre-dawn darkness. This is it, the moment everything changes. Again, Eva pushes open the roof access door. The helicopter's rotors are already spinning up. Stryker sees her and gestures urgently. She runs across the rooftop, bag slung over her shoulder head, down against the rotor wash. One of Stryker's men helps her into the helicopter. The interior is all business. No seats, just cargo webbing and equipment cases. She straps in as the aircraft lifts off. Through the open door, she can see Harbor General falling away below. The ER lights still burning. Ambulances coming and going. The ordinary chaos of a hospital that will keep running whether she's there or not. In 3 years, she's barely made a mark on that place. A few lives saved, a few shifts covered. Nothing memorable, nothing lasting. Maybe that's for the best. The helicopter banks hard heading north, toward what Eva doesn't know. Stryker hasn't briefed her yet, but she can guess. A safe house, somewhere remote. Somewhere they can keep Reed alive and hidden until they figure out who's trying to kill him. And maybe, just maybe, Eva can figure out who's been hunting her for 13 years. Eva closes her eyes as the helicopter climbs higher. 13 years of running. 13 years of being no one. She thinks about Captain Hale's last words. About the USB drive she's kept hidden all this time. About the choice she made the moment she spoke 6 words to a canine. There's no going back now, only forward, into the fire. The door to her past is open now, all the way open. No welding it shut again. So she's going to walk through it, back into the darkness, back into the world of classified operations and conspiracy and people who kill to protect their secrets. But this time she's not running. This time she's going hunting. She's ready. The helicopter cuts through the darkness like a blade. Eva sits in the cargo bay strapped into the webbing, watching San Diego shrink into a constellation of lights below. The city looks peaceful from up here. Orderly. Safe. All the violence and chaos hidden beneath a veneer of electric illumination. She knows better. Commander Stryker sits across from her, studying her face with the same intensity he probably uses to assess combat zones. His 3 operators maintain positions near the doors, weapons ready, but not threatening. They haven't been introduced. Don't need to be. Eva can read their body language well enough. Special operations? Probably SEALs. Young, fit professional. They keep glancing at her when they think she's not looking, wondering who this blonde nurse is that their commander treats with such deference. The flight takes 23 minutes. They land on a private airstrip north of Oceanside, far from commercial traffic and prying eyes. A convoy of SUVs waits in the darkness. Black, unmarked. Government issue, trying to look civilian. Stryker helps Eva down from the helicopter. The rotors are already spinning down, the pilot staying with the aircraft. They move quickly to the lead vehicle. No conversation, just efficient movement born from years of tactical training. Eva climbs into the back seat. Stryker takes the front passenger position. The driver doesn't speak or look back. They pull out before Eva even has her seatbelt fastened. The other 2 SUVs follow in formation. Professional spacing, multiple escape routes covered. These men know what they're doing. Where are we going? Eva asks. Safe house, 20 minutes east. Off the grid, no official records, no digital footprint. Stryker twists in his seat to look at her. Reed is already there. We moved him 40 minutes ago from the hospital, surgical team standing by. His condition, critical but stable. The trauma team did good work. He'll live assuming no one puts a bullet in him before dawn. Eva processes this. You think they'll move that fast? They already tried once. Stryker pulls out a tablet, taps a few commands, and hands it back to her. Security footage from Harbor General, 37 minutes after Reed was admitted. Eva watches the grainy black and white video. A figure in scrubs moves down the surgical recovery hallway. Male, average height, moving with purpose but not urgency. Nothing immediately suspicious. He enters Reed's room. The angle doesn't show what happens inside, but 17 seconds later, he exits, walking slightly faster now. He turns a corner and disappears from frame. Nurse found him 3 minutes later, Stryker says. Reed was unconscious from anesthesia, but his IV port had been accessed. Someone injected something. Lab is still running tests, but preliminary analysis suggests a paralytic. Succinylcholine, maybe. Causes cardiac arrest. Untraceable if it works. Eva's jaw tightens. Succinylcholine, professional choice. Medical knowledge required. This wasn't some hired thug. This was someone who knew exactly how to kill a patient in a hospital without raising immediate alarms. You get an ID on the attacker. Negative. Face was turned from cameras. Scrubs were generic. Could be anyone with building access. Stryker takes the tablet back. But the timing tells us something. They knew Reed was there within minutes of admission, which means they have access to military medical databases. High-level access. Eva stares out the window at the darkness rushing past. How many people have that kind of clearance? In theory, maybe 300 across all branches and intelligence agencies. Stryker's voice is grim. In practice, the number who'd actually use it to hunt down a wounded SEAL, that's a much shorter list. The SUV takes a series of turns down progressively smaller roads. Paved gives way to gravel. Streetlights disappear. The landscape becomes empty scrubland punctuated by occasional rock formations. Middle of nowhere, exactly where you'd want to hide something valuable. Or someone. They pull up to what looks like an abandoned ranch house. Single story, weathered wood siding, a few outbuildings in various states of disrepair, but Eva notices the details that don't fit. New locks on the doors, security cameras disguised as old ranch equipment, fresh tire tracks in patterns that suggest regular patrols. Not abandoned, just pretending to be. Inside, the illusion continues. The front room looks appropriately derelict. Dust, old furniture, windows boarded up. But past the initial space, everything changes. Modern lighting, communications equipment, medical monitors, a full surgical suite set up in what was probably once a dining room, and in the center of it all, on a hospital bed surrounded by beeping machines, lies Lieutenant Declan Reed. He looks worse under proper lighting. Pale skin, bandages covering most of his left side, IV lines running into both arms, oxygen cannula in his nose. But his vitals on the monitor look stable. Heart rate steady, blood pressure acceptable, oxygen saturation good. And beside the bed, lying on the floor with his head resting on his paws, is Maverick. The dog's eyes track Eva the moment she enters. He doesn't growl, doesn't stand, but she can see the tension in his body. Alert, protective, ready. Eva approaches slowly. Maverick's eyes never leave her face. When she's 3 feet from the bed, she stops, waits, letting the dog remember her scent, remember her voice, remember that she's safe. "Hey, Maverick," she says softly, "remember me?" The dog's tail thumps once against the floor. Not enthusiasm, acknowledgement. Eva kneels down, extends her hand slowly. Maverick sniffs at his nose, working, processing information that humans can't access. Then he licks her fingers once and settles back down. Permission granted. She checks Reed's vitals herself. Medical training from both her nursing career and her military background merging seamlessly. Everything looks good. The surgical team did excellent work. The shrapnel wounds have been debrided and closed. No signs of infection. He'll need monitoring, but he should recover fully. Physically, at least. "When will he wake up?" Eva asks. The surgeon, a woman in her 50s with tired eyes and steady hands, looks up from her notes. "Could be hours, could be tomorrow. The anesthesia was heavy. His body needs time." Eva nods. She's seen this before. Combat injuries take a toll beyond the physical. The body shuts down to heal, to process, to survive. Stryker appears at her elbow. "We need to talk, privately." They move to a back room that's been converted into a tactical operations center. Maps on the walls, computer terminals, secure communication equipment. Stryker closes the door behind them. "How much do you remember about Operation Ghost Phoenix?" he asks without preamble. Eva's stomach tightens. She spent 13 years trying not to remember, trying to bury those memories so deep they can't claw their way back up. But now Stryker is asking her to excavate them, to dig up the graves and examine the bodies. "Enough," she says carefully. "I need more than enough. I need details, names, timeline, everything you remember about the weeks leading up to the ambush." "Why, that's ancient history, buried and classified." Stryker's expression is hard, "because I don't think Reed's situation is unconnected to yours. The pattern is too similar. A classified operation, a supposedly routine mission, perfect ambush conditions, someone with inside knowledge." Eva feels something cold settle in her chest. She's considered this possibility in the abstract. The idea that Ghost Unit wasn't just unlucky, that the ambush was deliberate. But hearing Stryker voice it out loud makes it real in a way that's almost impossible to process. "You think someone set us up," she says flatly. "I think someone has been running illegal operations for a very long time, and I think they've gotten very good at cleaning up loose ends." Stryker pulls out a folder, actual paper, old school, untraceable. "I've been digging into Ghost Phoenix for the past 6 months, quietly, very quietly. What I found doesn't match the official record." He spreads documents across the table. Eva recognizes some of them. After-action reports, casualty listings, incident investigations. But others are new. Financial records, communication intercepts, movement logs. "The compound you hit in Iraq," Stryker says, pointing to a map. "It was supposed to be a weapons cache. Intelligence suggested enemy combatants, maybe a dozen. Low-value target. Ghost Unit was overkill for the mission, but you were in the area, so command tasked you." Eva remembers. Captain Hale had questioned it. The mission felt wrong, too simple, but orders were orders. The intelligence was fabricated. Stryker continues, I traced it back. 3 different analysts provided data that supported the target. All 3 have since retired with suspiciously comfortable pensions. The original source documentation doesn't exist. Someone wanted us at that compound. Yes, and someone made sure you wouldn't leave. Stryker taps another document. The QRF Quick Reaction Force that was supposed to be on standby for emergency extraction, they were ordered to stand down 30 minutes before your operation began. No explanation in the official logs. Eva's hands curl into fists. Her team called for backup. She remembers Hale on the radio, voice strained, reporting contact requesting immediate extraction. The reply had been garbled. Interference, bad connection. They'd thought it was equipment failure. It wasn't. They let us die, Eva says, and her voice sounds hollow even to her own ears. They made sure you died, Stryker corrects, or thought they did. 8 bodies recovered, 8 sets of dog tags, 8 confirmed KIA through dental records. Someone went to a lot of trouble to make sure Ghost Unit stayed dead. But I survived. Yes, which shouldn't have been possible. Stryker looks at her intently. How did you get out, Eva? What happened after the compound? Eva closes her eyes. She doesn't want to go back there, doesn't want to remember. But the door is open now. The memories are already flooding through. Iraq, November 2010, 3:47 a.m. local time. Eva is 21 years old and bleeding from a dozen different wounds. The explosion threw her clear of the primary kill zone. Dumb luck, random chance. She lands in a drainage ditch outside the compound wall, stays conscious just long enough to drag herself deeper into the shadows before everything goes black. When she wakes, it's dawn. The compound is still smoking. Bodies everywhere. Her team, her friends, her brothers and sisters. All dead. The enemy is gone. Disappeared like ghosts. Iraqi police are arriving, American military right behind them. Eva knows instantly that she can't let them find her alive. She doesn't know why. Not consciously, but some survival instinct is screaming at her, telling her that showing up alive will get her killed for real. So she crawls. Through the ditch. Through the desert. 3 kilometers in 6 hours. Delirious from blood loss and dehydration. She makes it to a village. Collapses in someone's courtyard. Wakes up 2 days later in a back room with an old woman cleaning her wounds with water and prayers. The old woman doesn't ask questions, doesn't call authorities, just feeds Eva, gives her water, lets her heal enough to move. It takes 5 days before Eva is strong enough to walk. The old woman gives her civilian clothes, a headscarf, enough money for a bus ticket, says something in Arabic that Eva doesn't fully understand but feels in her bones. Survival, luck, God's will. Eva makes it to Kuwait, uses emergency protocols she learned in training. Protocols for operators who end up behind enemy lines. She contacts a handler. Not her official handler, a backup. Someone from training who told her once very quietly that if she ever needed to disappear, he could help. That handler turns out to be Admiral Bernard Thorne. Thorne doesn't ask many questions either. He looks at her wounds, looks at her face, looks at whatever reports have crossed his desk, and he says 3 words that change everything. You're dead now. He arranges documentation. A new identity, nursing school transcripts, work history, everything needed to become Sarah Mitchell, then eventually Evangeline Blackwood. He gives her money, not a lot but enough to start over, and he gives her one piece of advice. Stay dead, or they'll make it permanent. Eva opens her eyes. Stryker is watching her with the patience of someone who's waited a very long time for answers. I got lucky, she says, landed wrong from the blast, ended up outside the perimeter, stayed hidden until I could move, made contact with the asset who helped me disappear. What asset? Eva shakes her head. I can't tell you that. I won't expose someone who saved my life. Stryker looks like he wants to push, but after a moment he nods. Fair enough. But someone high up the chain had to facilitate your disappearance. Someone with access to identity creation. Records modification. That's serious juice. It was. And in 13 years they never came looking for you. I don't know. I've been careful, very careful. New city every 2 years. Different names, different lives. I didn't settle in San Diego until 3 years ago. First time I've stayed anywhere this long. Eva looks at the documents spread on the table. I thought I was safe. Thought enough time had passed. You were never safe, Stryker says quietly. None of us are. Not when we know what you know. Which is what exactly I don't know who ordered the hit on Ghost Unit. Don't know why. I just know someone wanted us dead badly enough to fake intelligence and leave us stranded. But you have evidence. Captain Hale gave you something. A USB drive, insurance and she's. Eva goes very still. How do you know about that? Because Hale was smart. I knew him. Worked with him on 2 operations before Ghost Phoenix. He wasn't the type to walk into a bad situation without a contingency. Stryker leans forward. Where is it, Eva? Where's the drive? She doesn't answer immediately. The USB drive is her last card, her only leverage if things go wrong. Giving it up means trusting Stryker completely. Means believing he's on the right side of whatever conspiracy buried Ghost Unit. But what choice does she have? She's already out in the open. Already exposed. The drive is only insurance if she's alive to use it. Safe deposit box, she says finally. San Diego, under a false name. We need to retrieve it, tonight, before whoever's hunting Reed realizes you're involved. They already know. I spoke that code in a trauma bay full of witnesses. If they're monitoring like you say, they'll know within hours. Which is why we move fast. Stryker stands. I'll arrange transport. We get the drive, bring it back here, and figure out exactly who we're dealing with. Ava rises as well. Every instinct she has is screaming that this is a bad idea. That going back to San Diego to a location connected to her identity is walking into a trap. But the drive is the only evidence that Ghost Unit was murdered. Without it, there's nothing but her word against official records. And officially, she's been dead for 13 years. I'll need 2 hours, she says. Get what we need and get out clean. You'll have one, and you'll have me with you. They leave the back room. The safe house has filled with more people while they were talking. Medics monitoring Reed, communications specialists at their terminals, a rotating guard at every entrance. Stryker is taking security seriously. Good, because Eva has a feeling they're going to need it. She checks on Reed one more time before leaving. The young SEAL is still unconscious, but his color looks better. Maverick raises his head as Eva approaches tail-thumping recognition. She kneels beside the dog and scratches behind his ears. You did good, buddy, she whispers. You saved him. Now let us do the rest. Maverick's dark eyes hold hers. For a moment, Eva sees something in that gaze that makes her chest tight. Loyalty, devotion, the absolute certainty that this dog would die for his handler without hesitation. Ghost Unit had dogs like that. Partners, friends. They died in the ambush too, killed trying to protect their operators. Nobody talks about the dogs. Nobody puts them on memorial walls or includes them in casualty counts. But Eva remembers every one of them. The drive back to San Diego takes 40 minutes through pre-dawn darkness. Stryker rides shotgun. Eva sits in the back watching the landscape transform from empty scrubland to suburban sprawl to urban density. The city is waking up, early commuters hitting the freeways, coffee shops opening, the mundane machinery of civilian life grinding into motion. Eva spent 13 years as part of that machinery, pretending she was normal, pretending she cared about gas prices and traffic jams and whether her coworker's daughter got into the right college. It was exhausting. Maybe in some twisted way, this is a relief, to stop pretending, to be herself again, even if herself is someone she's not entirely proud of. They reach downtown San Diego as the sun breaks over the horizon. Stryker directs the driver to a parking structure 3 blocks from the bank, far enough to avoid direct surveillance, close enough to move fast if necessary. You remember the account details? Stryker asks. Yeah, Sarah Morrison, box 847, secondary ID required. What's the secondary? Eva pulls it from her bag. A driver's license with her photo and a name she hasn't used in 18 months. Sarah Morrison, age 29, address in Phoenix, all fake, all perfectly documented. We go in clean, Stryker says. You access the box, I watch the exits. First sign of trouble, we abort. They walk the 3 blocks in silence. Eva keeps her awareness loose and her eyes moving, checking reflections in windows, noting vehicles that pass more than once, looking for the subtle tells that mark surveillance or ambush preparation. Nothing stands out, but that doesn't mean it's not there. The bank is just opening when they arrive. A few early customers in the lobby, tellers setting up their stations. Normal, boring, safe. Eva approaches the desk where an older woman, maybe 60, kind eyes wedding ring on her finger, greets her with a professional smile. Good morning, how can I help you? I need to access a safe deposit box, number 847. Of course, I'll need to see two forms of ID and your access key. Eva provides everything. The woman verifies the information against her computer records. Everything matches. She stands and gestures toward the vault area. Right this way. Stryker stays in the lobby, positioned where he can see both the entrance and the vault corridor. His hand rests casually near his jacket. Ava knows there's a weapon under there. Stryker wouldn't go anywhere unarmed. The vault is standard. Concrete walls, heavy door, row upon row of small metal doors. The woman uses Eva's key and her master key to open box 847, slides the long metal container out. Let me know when you're finished. I'll be right outside. Ava nods, waits until the woman is gone, then she opens the box. Inside cash, $5,000 in used bills, another false passport, and a USB drive wrapped in cloth. Captain David Hale's last gift. Eva picks up the drive. It's small, unremarkable, the kind of thing you'd buy at any electronics store, but she knows what's on here. Knows because Hale told her the night before the mission. Names, dates, financial transactions. Proof that Ghost Unit had stumbled onto something bigger than anyone realized. An arms smuggling operation. Military weapons being diverted from official inventories and sold to private buyers. Not just small arms. Big stuff. Anti-tank missiles, advanced explosives, equipment that could change the balance of power in any regional conflict. And the operation wasn't being run by terrorists or foreign governments. It was being run by Americans. Military officers, defense contractors, people who were supposed to protect the country but had decided protecting their bank accounts was more important. Ghost Unit had found evidence, documented it, prepared to bring it up the chain of command. That's why they had to die. Eva closes her eyes. 13 years. 13 years this drive has been sitting in a bank vault containing evidence of treason and murder while she played nurse and pretended to be someone else. She puts the drive in her pocket, leaves everything else, closes the box, signals the bank employee that she's done. They reverse the process. Keys turn, metal slides into place. The woman escorts Eva back to the lobby. Stryker is standing exactly where she left him, but his posture has changed. Subtle shift in weight. Eyes tracking something Eva can't see yet. He meets her gaze. Tilts his head fractionally toward the exit. Trouble. Eva doesn't break stride, doesn't look around, just walks calmly toward the door like a woman who's done her banking and has places to be. Stryker falls in beside her. They exit together. On the street, she finally sees what caught Stryker's attention. Two men, 40 feet away, pretending to look at their phones, but their positioning is wrong, too tactical, too aware. And when Eva and Stryker emerge, both men's hands move toward their jackets. Vehicle, 3 blocks, Stryker says quietly. Fast walk. Don't run. They move, not rushing, not attracting attention, but covering ground quickly. Behind them, Ava hears footsteps, matching their pace, closing distance. 1 block, 2 blocks. The footsteps are closer now. Eva risks a glance back. The 2 men have been joined by 2 more. 4 total, spread in a tactical formation. Professional, experienced. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. They knew she'd come here. Knew about the safe deposit box, which means they've been monitoring her identity more closely than she realized. They're going to make a move, Eva says. Not in public. Too many witnesses. They moved in a hospital. That was subtle. This would be overt. But Stryker's hand is under his jacket now. Ready, half a block. The parking structure is in sight. Behind them, car doors slam. An engine revs. Eva turns her head just enough to see a black SUV pulling out of a side street. Coming up fast, windows tinted. Definitely not a civilian vehicle. Run, Stryker says. They run. The parking structure entrance is 50 feet away. 40. 30. The SUV is accelerating, jumping the curb. People scream and scatter. This isn't subtle anymore. This is open aggression in broad daylight. Eva reaches the structure first. Stryker is right behind her. They vault over the pedestrian barrier and sprint for the stairs. Behind them, the SUV screeches to a halt. Doors fly open. Up the stairs. 2 flights. 3. Their own vehicle is on level 4. Eva's lungs burn, but her legs keep moving. Muscle memory from thousands of hours of training. You don't stop. You don't slow. You run until you're safe or dead. They hit level 4 running. Their driver sees them coming and starts the engine. Door opens before they reach it. They dive in. The vehicle is moving before Eva even gets her door closed. Contact. 4 hostiles on foot. 1 vehicle blocking the ground exit. Stryker reports to the driver. Alternate route, now. The driver doesn't hesitate. He takes a hard right, heading up instead of down. The parking structure has 8 levels. Maybe they can find another exit at the top. Level 5, 6, 7, 8. The roof level is exposed, open to the sky. The driver doesn't slow. He aims for a gap in the concrete barrier that looks barely wide enough. Hold on, he says calmly. They hit the gap. Metal screams. Concrete fragments spray. But they're through, airborne for a terrifying second. Then they land hard on the roof of the adjacent building. Lower, only 6 stories, the suspension bottoms out. The engine roars. They keep moving. This building connects to another and another. The driver threads through maintenance access routes that shouldn't accommodate a vehicle this size but somehow do. Emergency planning. Escape routes mapped in advance. Professional work. 5 minutes later, they're 6 blocks away and merging into traffic like nothing happened. Eva's heart is pounding, adrenaline flooding her system. But her hands are steady when she pulls out the USB drive. They were waiting for us, she says. Yes, Stryker is already on his phone, encrypted channel. We've been compromised. They knew about the box, knew she'd go there. How, Eva demands. I set that account up 2 years ago under a completely clean identity. Nobody should have been able to connect it to me. They've been watching you the whole time, Stryker's voice is grim. Since the moment you settled in San Diego. Maybe longer. They weren't sure you were Ghost '07, but they suspected. And when you used that code on Maverick, you confirmed it. Eva feels something cold settle in her stomach. How long? Can't know for sure, but I'd guess at least a year, maybe more. A year, Ava has been living her quiet life as a nurse for 3 years in San Diego. If they've been watching her for a year, that means they saw everything. Her routines, her patterns, her vulnerabilities. Why didn't they move sooner? Because you weren't a threat. You were just a nurse, nobody, nothing. But the moment you exposed yourself as Ghost Unit, you became a loose end. Stryker looks at her directly, and they are very, very good at cleaning up loose ends. The vehicle takes a series of turns, doubling back, ensuring no tail, standard counter surveillance. By the time they get back on the highway heading north, Eva is confident they're clean. For now. She turns the USB drive over in her hands. 13 years. All the answers stored on something that weighs less than an ounce. We need to see what's on this, she says. We will. Back at the safe house, secure network. Then we'll know exactly who we're dealing with. The drive back takes longer, more cautious, more circuitous, but eventually they pull up to the abandoned ranch house that isn't abandoned at all. Inside, Reed is awake. He's propped up in the hospital bed, looking weak but alert. Maverick is pressed against his side tail, wagging slowly. The young SEAL's eyes find Eva immediately, and the recognition in those eyes is instant and profound. Yuktaye, he says, his voice rough from intubation. Afghanistan, Hill 2417, November 2010. Eva stops in the doorway. She knew this was coming. Knew Reed had recognized her in the trauma bay. But hearing him say it out loud with such certainty makes it real in a way she hasn't fully processed. You remember, she says quietly. How could I forget? Reed's eyes don't leave her face. I was 19, green as hell. My unit got pinned down by Taliban. 30 fighters. We had maybe 10 guys, out of ammo, out of luck. We were going to die. He pauses, swallows hard. Then you came, out of nowhere, you and 7 others. You moved through those Taliban positions like they weren't even there. I saw you kill 3 men in under 10 seconds. No hesitation, no wasted movement, just efficient. Eva remembers that night, remembers the call for assistance, remembers Ghost Unit was close enough to respond. Captain Hale had made the call. Save the Rangers. Get out clean. No one needs to know we were here. They'd saved 23 men that night. Reed was one of them. You never said a word to us, Reed continues, just eliminated the threat and disappeared. But I saw your unit designation, Ghost 07. I asked my CO about it later. He told me to forget what I saw, that those operators didn't exist. We didn't, Eva says. Not officially. But you saved my life, you and your team. And then I heard Ghost Unit got wiped out a month later. I thought you were all dead. Where Reed's eyes are bright with emotion. I thought the people who saved me were gone. Ava moves closer to the bed, kneels down so she's at his eye level. Most of them are. I'm the only one who made it out. How luck, timing, and someone who helped me disappear. She glances at Stryker, who's watching this exchange with intense focus. But that's over now. They know I'm alive. They know I have evidence. They're coming. Let them come, Reed says, and despite his injuries, despite his weaknesses, there's steel in his voice. You saved my life in Afghanistan. Now I get to return the favor. Eva almost smiles, almost. This kid has heart. The kind of heart that gets people killed, but also the kind that wins impossible battles. Tell me about your mission, she says. The one that got you blown up. What were you carrying? Reed's expression darkens. Documents, financial records, proof that defense contractors have been falsifying equipment tests for the past 15 years. Selling the military defective gear. Body armor that doesn't stop bullets. Helmets that crack on impact. Night vision that fails in combat conditions. Eva's blood runs cold. How many deaths? Hundreds, maybe thousands. Operators going into hot zones with equipment that was supposed to save them, but didn't. All because someone wanted to maximize profit margins. And you found proof. I was transporting it, taking it from a source to my CO. Never made it. Someone planted a live grenade in the training equipment, made it look like an accident. Killed 2 other operators. Would have killed me if Maverick hadn't pushed me clear at the last second. Eva looks at the D. Maverick's eyes meet hers. Steady, calm. This animal saved his handler's life. Protected him, refused to let him die alone. Loyalty like that is rare. Precious. Where are the documents now? Stryker asks. Encrypted. Cloud storage. Needs my biometrics to access. Reed looks at Eva. If they kill me, the evidence dies too. That's why they're so desperate. Then we make sure you don't die, Eva says simply, and we make sure this evidence gets where it needs to go. She stands and pulls out Hale's USB drive, holds it up so both Reed and Stryker can see. This drive has proof that my unit was murdered because we found evidence of an illegal arms smuggling operation. Your documents prove equipment fraud that got people killed. I'm willing to bet it's not 2 separate conspiracies. Stryker takes the drive. Same people, same network. They've been doing this for years, getting rich off military contracts while soldiers die because of their greed. How high does it go? Eva asks. High enough that they can order hits on American soil without repercussion. High enough to access classified databases and manipulate military operations. Stryker's jaw is tight. We're talking Pentagon officials, defense contractors, possibly congressional oversight committees. While Reed closes his eyes. Jesus. Yeah, Eva crosses her arms. And now they know we have proof. They're going to come at us with everything they have. Let them, Stryker says. We've got evidence, we've got witnesses, and we've got operators who know how to fight. He looks at Eva. Question is, are you in, all the way in? Because once we start this, there's no going back. Eva thinks about Captain Hale, about her team, about 13 years of hiding and running and pretending to be someone she's not. She thinks about the young Rangers Reed's age who died wearing defective armor, about the operators Ghost Unit couldn't save because they were already dead, about all the people who died so someone could buy a bigger house or a faster car. I'm in, she says, all the way. Stryker nods. Then we need to move fast, get this evidence secure, get it to people we can trust, and prepare for them to come at us hard. Who do we trust? I know someone, Admiral Bernard Thorne. He's been investigating military corruption for years, quietly, under the radar. If anyone can help us, it's him. Eva's breath catches. Thorne, the man who saved her life 13 years ago, the man who helped her disappear. I know Thorne, she says quietly. He's the one who got me out. Stryker's eyes widen slightly. Then he's already invested in this, already on our side. Maybe, or maybe he's been protecting himself for 13 years. Eva can't keep the bitterness out of her voice. Why didn't he go after the people who ordered the hit on Ghost Unit? He had to know it was an inside job. Because he didn't have proof. And going after people at that level without proof is suicide. Stryker holds up the USB drive. But now we have proof. His and yours and Reed's. 3 different operations. 3 different conspiracies. All connected. Eva takes a slow breath. This is it. The moment where she stops running and starts fighting. The moment where she honors her fallen team by making sure their deaths meant something. Call Thorne, she says. Tell him Ghost 07 is alive. Tell him she's coming for answers. Stryker pulls out his phone. He's going to want to see you. Verify your identity. Good. I want to see him too. I've got 13 years of questions. While Stryker makes the call, Eva returns to Reed's bedside. The young SEAL is watching her with something close to awe. "You're really her," he says. "The legend. Ghost '07, the operator who never missed, who could move through hostile territory like smoke. We heard stories about you in training. They were just stories." "No, Majda." Reed shakes his head. "I was there. I saw you. You were real. And you're still here, still fighting." Eva reaches down and scratches Maverick behind the ears. The dog leans into her touch, trusting her completely. "I'm fighting because I don't have a choice anymore," she says. "They took that choice away when they killed my team. But you," she looks at Reed directly, "you still have choices. You can walk away from this. Let Stryker and me handle it. Keep your head down and survive." "That's not a choice," Reed's voice is firm. "Not for me, not after Maverick saved my life. Not after seeing what these people are willing to do." He pauses. "You saved me once, now I save you. That's how it works." Eva feels something crack in her chest, something she's kept locked away for 13 years. The knowledge that she's not alone, that there are still people worth fighting for, worth dying for. "All right then," she says softly. "We fight together." Stryker ends his call. When he turns back, his expression is grim, but determined. Thorne is in. He's been waiting for this moment for over a decade. He'll meet us tomorrow. Secure location. He'll bring FBI support. People he trusts. Stryker looks at Eva. "He wants you there." Says it's time to bring Ghost Unit home. Eva nods slowly. Home. She hasn't thought of herself as having a home in 13 years. But maybe home isn't a place. Maybe home is purpose. Mission. Fighting alongside people who understand what it means to serve. "Tomorrow then," she says, "we end this." Outside, the sun is setting. The safe house is secure. Guards at every entrance. Communications monitored. They're as safe as they can be, but Eva knows safety is an illusion. They're not safe. Won't be safe until every person responsible for Ghost Unit's death is exposed and prosecuted. She steps outside for air. The desert stretches in every direction. Empty, beautiful, deadly if you don't know how to survive it. Eva knows how to survive. She's been doing it for 13 years. But survival isn't enough anymore. Now she wants justice. And tomorrow she's going to start taking it. Eva hasn't slept. She spent the night on the porch watching stars fade into gray, thinking about tomorrow, about Thorne, about what comes after revenge, after justice, after the door she welded shut is finally blown open for good. She's not afraid, just tired, so goddamn tired of carrying ghosts. But tired doesn't mean quit. It never did. Dawn breaks over the safe house like a judgment. Stryker finds her standing at the porch railing, coffee cup cooling in her hands. "Thorne wants to meet at 1300 hours, Stryker says without preamble. Location is a decommissioned military facility outside 29 Palms. Isolated, secure. He'll have FBI there, agents he's vetted personally." Eva nods. 29 Palms, middle of the Mojave Desert. Smart choice. Hard to approach without being seen. Harder to escape if things go sideways. But that cuts both ways. If Thorne is setting a trap, they'll see it coming. How many agents? 4, plus Thorne. Against us, that's you, me, Reed, if he's mobile enough, and my 3 operators. "Reed stays here," Eva says immediately. "He's still recovering. And if this goes bad, we need someone alive who can access those documents." "Agreed." Stryker studies her face. "You trust Thorne." It's the question Eva has been asking herself all night. Does she trust the man who saved her life 13 years ago? The man who gave her a new identity and told her to disappear? The man who had the power to go after Ghost Unit's killers but chose not to? "I trust that he wants these people exposed," Eva says carefully. "I don't know if I trust his methods or his timeline." "Fair enough." Stryker checks his watch. "We leave in 4 hours. Gives us time to prep and run final security checks." They go back inside. The safe house is fully awake now. Medics checking Reed's vitals. Communications specialists monitoring encrypted channels. The 3 SEAL operators Stryker brought are cleaning weapons with the practiced efficiency of men who've done this thousands of times. Eva approaches the oldest of the 3. He's maybe 35 with a scar running from his left eyebrow to his hairline and eyes that have seen too many bad situations to be surprised by anything anymore. "You got a spare sidearm?" she asks. He looks her up and down, assessing, deciding, then reaches into an equipment case and pulls out a Glock 19. Checks the chamber, drops the magazine, hands it to her along with 3 spare mags. "You qualified?" he asks. Eva ejects the magazine, racks the slide to verify the chamber is clear, checks the barrel for obstructions, reassembles everything, and loads a fresh magazine in under 4 seconds. Muscle memory from a lifetime ago. "I'll manage," she says. The operator's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. Respect, maybe. Recognition that she's not some civilian playing soldier. "Name's Tanner," he says. "You need anything else, let me know." Eva nods. She spends the next 2 hours reviewing everything they know. The USB drive from Captain Hale contains detailed financial records. Shell companies, offshore accounts, wire transfers that trace back to defense contractors and Pentagon officials. It's damning evidence. Enough to bring down a dozen people, maybe more. Reed's documents are equally explosive. Equipment testing results that were falsified. Safety certifications that were rubber-stamped without proper verification. Internal memos discussing profit margins and acceptable casualty rates as if dead soldiers were just numbers in a spreadsheet. Put it all together and you have a conspiracy that spans 15 years in multiple administrations. Billions of dollars in fraud, hundreds of deaths, and a network of people powerful enough to orchestrate assassinations on American soil. Eva closes her laptop and rubs her eyes. This is bigger than Ghost Unit, bigger than Reed. This is systemic corruption at the highest levels of military procurement and oversight. No wonder they're willing to kill to keep it buried. Reed is awake when Eva checks on him. He looks better, color in his face, stronger. Maverick is curled up beside the bed, eyes tracking Eva's every movement. "How you feeling?" she asks. "Like I got hit by a grenade." Reed manages a weak smile. "But I'll live, thanks to you." "Thank Maverick. He's the one who kept you alive long enough to get help." Reed reaches down and scratches the dog's head. Maverick's tail thumps against the floor. The bond between them is palpable. Handler and canine. Partners. Brothers in a way that civilians can't fully understand. "Stryker says you're meeting Thorne today," Reed says. "Yeah, bringing him the evidence. Hopefully he can do something with it. And if he can't, Eva doesn't have a good answer for that. If Thorne can't or won't help, they're on their own. 2 operators, a wounded SEAL, and evidence that could get them all killed. Then we find another way," she says finally. Reed nods. He understands. In special operations, you don't quit just because the first plan fails. You adapt. Improvise. Keep fighting until the mission is complete or you're dead. "Be careful," he says. "These people have already proven they'll kill operators. You walk into that meeting, you're exposing yourself. Making yourself a target." "I've been a target for 13 years, just didn't know it." Eva checks her weapon. Chambers around, holsters it. "At least now I know who's hunting me." She leaves Reed to rest. Outside, Stryker's team is loading vehicles. 2 SUVs, armored. Not military grade, but better than civilian. Stryker is in full tactical gear now. Plate carrier, sidearm, radio. He looks like what he is. A SEAL commander preparing for potential combat. Eva is dressed more simply. Dark jeans, black jacket, boots. The Glock concealed at her hip. She doesn't need body armor. If this meeting goes bad, armor won't save her. Speed and tactics will. They roll out at noon. 2 vehicles. 3 operators in the lead SUV, Eva and Stryker in the second. The drive to 29 Palms takes 90 minutes through increasingly desolate landscape. Desert scrub gives way to hard-packed dirt and rock formations. The kind of terrain where you can see someone coming from miles away, which is exactly the point. The decommissioned military facility comes into view at 12:55. It's a relic from Cold War training exercises. Concrete buildings weathered by decades of desert sun, rusted chain-link fences, empty guard towers. The kind of place that looks abandoned but could hide a platoon of soldiers if needed. Stryker's lead vehicle stops half a mile out. The operators deploy with binoculars and spotting scopes, checking the facility, looking for threats, for ambush positions, for anything that doesn't belong. I count 3 vehicles. One of them reports over radio. 2 SUVs, 1 sedan, all black. Government plates. 4 individuals visible. All armed but weapons holstered. No hostile positioning. Stryker listens to the report, then looks at Eva. That matches what Thorne said he'd bring. 4 FBI agents plus himself. Doesn't mean it's safe. No, it doesn't. Stryker keys his radio. We go in tactical. Weapons ready but not threatening. First sign of trouble, we extract immediately. Clear. 3 confirmations come back over the radio. They drive the last half mile slowly, deliberately, giving Thorne's people time to see them coming, to recognize that they're not hostile, but also not stupid enough to walk in blind. The vehicle stopped 50 feet from where Thorne's convoy is parked. Doors open. Stryker's operators deploy in a loose formation. Not aggressive, but ready. Eva and Stryker exit last. And there, standing in the shade of one of the crumbling buildings, is Admiral Bernard Thorne. He's older than Eva remembers. 64 now, hair completely white, lines carved deep in his face. But his posture is still ramrod straight, his eyes still sharp. He wears civilian clothes, khakis and a button-down shirt. No rank insignia, no indication he was once one of the most powerful men in naval intelligence. Their eyes meet across the 50 feet of desert hardpan. For a long moment, neither moves. Then Thorne walks forward, slowly, hands visible, unthreatening. He stops 10 feet from Eva, studies her face like he's looking at a ghost he never expected to see again. "Evangeline," he says, and his voice carries a weight of emotion Eva wasn't prepared for. "You survived." "You told me to," Eva says quietly. "I told you to disappear, to stay hidden, to live a quiet life and never surface." Thorne's jaw tightens. What the hell happened? "Lieutenant Reed happened. A canine that wouldn't let anyone touch him. A code phrase I spoke without thinking." Eva crosses her arms. 13 years of hiding undone in 6 words. Thorne closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, there's something that looks like regret. "I'm sorry I tried to protect you, tried to give you a chance at a normal life." "Why?" The question bursts out of Eva before she can stop it. "Why save me? Why not just let me die with the rest of Ghost Unit? Would have been simpler, cleaner." "Because you didn't deserve to die for doing your job." Thorne's voice is firm. "Your team stumbled onto evidence of corruption. They documented it, reported it, and for that they were murdered. Systematically. Deliberately." He pauses. "I couldn't save them, but I could save you." "You knew," Eva says, and she can hear the anger in her own voice. "You knew it was an inside job. Knew someone in the military ordered the hit, and you did nothing." "I did what I could." Thorne's composure cracks slightly. "You think I didn't want to go after them, expose them? I wanted to. God knows I wanted to. But I didn't have proof, just suspicions. And going after people at that level without proof is suicide. So you let them get away with it." "I let them think they got away with it." Thorne pulls a tablet from his pocket, taps the screen, hands it to Eva. "For 13 years I've been building a case, quietly, carefully, collecting evidence, tracking money, documenting connections. I've been waiting for the right moment, the right evidence, the right leverage." Eva looks at the tablet. It's showing a network diagram, names connected by lines. Defense contractors, Pentagon officials, congressional staffers, 3 senators, a deputy secretary of defense. Dozens of people all connected to the same conspiracy. At the center of the web is a name Eva recognizes, Raymond Garrett. "He's the coordinator," Thorne says. "The fixer, the one who makes problems disappear. He orchestrated the Ghost Unit ambush. He arranged Reed's accident. He's been running this operation for 15 years. Eva stares at the name. This is the man responsible. The one who ordered her teammates killed. The one who's been trying to finish the job ever since. "Where is he?" she asks, and her voice is cold enough to freeze blood. "Unknown. He went underground 48 hours ago, right around the time you spoke that code in the trauma bay." Thorne takes the tablet back. "But he'll surface. He has to. Because he knows we have evidence now, knows his network is exposed. He'll come after you to tie up loose ends." "Let him come?" "Eva," Thorne's voice softens. "These people are dangerous, connected, ruthless. They've killed dozens of operators over the years, made them all look like accidents or combat casualties. You go after them directly, you'll end up dead. Then what do you suggest?" Thorne gestures to the 4 FBI agents standing behind him. They've been quiet this whole time, but Eva can read their body language. Alert, professional. Not hostile, but not friendly either. Waiting to see how this plays out. "These agents work for a task force I've been running off the books for 3 years. They investigate military corruption, build cases, prepare prosecutions. They're good people, honest people, and they have the authority to arrest everyone on that network diagram." One of the agents steps forward. She's maybe 40, dark hair pulled back, sharp eyes, FBI jacket over a business suit. She extends her hand to Eva. "Special Agent Kathleen Morrison. I've been following Ghost Unit's case since Admiral Thorne brought it to my attention 2 years ago. I want these people in prison as much as you do." Eva shakes her hand. Morrison's grip is firm, confident. The grip of someone who knows her job and does it well. How long will it take, Eva asks, to arrest them, to prosecute? With the evidence you have, Morrison considers, 3 months to build an airtight case, another 6 for trials, maybe a year total. A year. Eva feels something cold settle in her chest. And what do I do for that year, Hyde Run? Wait for them to kill me. We'll provide protection, witness security, safe houses, everything you need. Like you protected Reed. Someone got to him in a hospital. In a guarded room, these people have reach, resources. They'll find me. Morrison doesn't deny it, can't deny it. They both know Eva is right. Stryker has been silent this whole time, but now he steps forward. What if we don't wait? What if we force their hand? Make them come to us on our terms? Thorne frowns. That's extremely risky. So is waiting a year while they hunt us down one by one? Stryker looks at Morrison. You want arrests? We'll give you arrests, but we do it fast, we do it clean, and we do it in a way that exposes the entire network at once. How? Morrison asks. Stryker pulls out his phone, brings up a file. Reed was transporting evidence about equipment fraud. Eva has evidence about arms smuggling. Combined, that's enough to implicate maybe 15 people directly. But we need the whole network, all 47 names on that diagram. That requires someone on the inside, Thorne says. Someone high enough to have access to communications, financial records, operational details. Or, Eva says slowly, we make them think we have someone on the inside, make them panic, make them communicate with each other, and we record everything. Morrison's eyes light up. A sting. You're talking about a sting operation. Exactly. We leak information that suggests someone in their network has flipped, given us evidence, agreed to testify. They'll scramble, start calling each other, sending encrypted messages, trying to figure out who the traitor is. And we intercept all of it, Stryker finishes. Get them on record coordinating, discussing the crimes, implicating themselves. Thorne is quiet for a long moment. Then slowly he nods. It could work, but it requires perfect timing, perfect execution. One mistake and they'll go to ground, destroy evidence, disappear. Then we don't make mistakes, Eva says. Morrison looks at her FBI team. They're conferring quietly, running through scenarios, assessing risks. After a minute, she turns back. We'll need authorization. This kind of operation requires sign-off from the director. Can you get it? With the evidence you have, with Admiral Thorne's backing? Yes, I can get it. Morrison's expression is determined. Give me 6 hours. I'll have authorization and a full tactical plan. 6 hours, Stryker confirms. We'll be ready. They exchange contact information, encrypted channels, protocols, everything needed to coordinate a multi-agency operation. The FBI agents load into their vehicles and pull out, heading back towards civilization and bureaucracy and the machinery of federal law enforcement. Thorne stays behind. He walks with Eva away from the others, out into the desert, to a place where they can talk without being overheard. I'm sorry, he says again, for all of it, for the years you spent hiding, for the teammates you lost, for the life you could have had. Eva doesn't respond immediately. She's looking out at the desert, at the harsh beauty of it, at the way it stretches to the horizon without compromise or mercy. You gave me a second chance, she says finally. Most people don't get that. Most operators who die in Black Ops stay dead. No one remembers them. No one mourns them. They just disappear. But you wanted to be remembered. No, Eva shakes her head. I wanted them to be remembered. Captain Hale, Sergeant Martinez, Corporal Okonkwo. They died doing their jobs, serving their country, and someone buried them, erased them, made it like they never existed. After this is over, Thorne says quietly, after everyone responsible is in prison, I'll make sure they're remembered. Official memorial, full honors, everything they deserved. Will it be under their real names or their cover identities? Thorne hesitates. Some operations have to stay classified, even in death. Then what's the point? Eva's voice is bitter. What good is a memorial if it's built on lies? The point is that someone remembers, someone knows, someone carries the weight of their sacrifice. Thorne puts a hand on her shoulder. You're carrying that weight, Eva. Have been for 13 years, but you don't have to carry it alone anymore. Eva feels something crack inside her, something she's kept locked away since that night in Iraq when her world ended. She spent 13 years pretending to be strong, pretending the past didn't haunt her. pretending she was fine. But she's not fine. She's angry, grieving, exhausted from years of looking over her shoulder and sleeping with one eye open. I want them to pay, she says, and her voice breaks slightly. Not just arrested, not just prosecuted. I want them to understand what they took from us, from me, from all the families who lost people because of their greed. They will thorn promises. I swear to you, they will pay for every life they destroyed. They stand in silence for a moment. Then Eva straightens, wipes her eyes, rebuilds the walls that keep her functional. 6 hours, she says. We should prepare. They walk back to where Strayer and his team are waiting. The operators have been maintaining security, scanning the perimeter, ensuring no threats approach. Professional, vigilant, exactly what Eva needs right now. The drive back to the safe house is quiet. Eva spends it reviewing the plan, thinking through contingencies, preparing mentally for what comes next. Because she knows how this ends. Raymond Garrett will come for her. Has to come for her. She's the last ghost unit operator. The final loose end, and men like Garrett don't leave loose ends, so she'll make it easy for him. She'll be the bait. The target, the vulnerable witness that needs eliminating, and when he comes, she'll be ready. They arrive at the safe house as the sun is beginning its descent toward the horizon. Reed is sitting up in bed looking stronger. Maverick is alert at his side. The medics report that his vitals are good. Recovery is progressing faster than expected. How'd it go? Reed asks. FBI is in Stryker reports. We're running a sting, force the network to communicate, catch them coordinating, build an airtight case. When? Soon, Morrison needs 6 hours for authorization. Then we move. Reed nods. What do you need from me? Access to your encrypted files, the equipment fraud documentation. We'll need to leak portions of it, make it look like someone in their network provided it to us. Done. Reed doesn't hesitate. Whatever you need. Eva sits down beside his bed. Maverick's tail thumps in greeting. She scratches the dog behind the ears, feeling the solid warmth of him. The uncomplicated loyalty that only animals can offer. They're going to come after your Chio, she says to Reed, even harder than before. Once we spring this trap, they'll know we have everything. You'll be the key witness, the one who can authenticate the documents. I know. Reed's expression is calm. I'm ready. Are you? Ava studies his face. This isn't a combat deployment. This is testimony. Trials. Months of your life spent in courtrooms and depositions. Death threats, attempts on your life. Your family will be at risk. Your career will be scrutinized. Everything you've ever done will be dragged into the light. Good, Reed says firmly. Let them drag it into the light. Let everyone see what these people have done. How many operators died because of faulty equipment? How much money they stole while we bled? He pauses. I didn't survive that grenade blast just to hide. I survived to make sure this means something. Eva sees the determination in his eyes. The same determination she saw in her ghost unit teammates. The kind of conviction that makes people willing to sacrifice everything for a cause larger than themselves. All right, she says. Then we do this together. The next 6 hours pass in preparation. Stryker's team runs security protocols. The communications specialists set up encrypted networks. Morrison sends preliminary operational plans that get refined and adjusted. At 1900 hours, Morrison calls. We're authorized. Full FBI tactical support. SWAT teams on standby. Arrest warrants for 47 individuals. We're ready to move. What's the plan? Stryker asks. Morrison lays it out. We leak a story to the network through a compromised communication channel. Make it look like Raymond Garrett has been arrested and is cooperating with federal investigators. That should trigger a panic. They'll start communicating, coordinating, trying to figure out damage control. And we record everything. Every call, every message, every communication on channels we've been monitoring for months. Once we have enough evidence of coordination and conspiracy, we move. Simultaneous arrests, 47 locations, all at once. No one escapes. When do we leak the story? 2200 hours, 3 hours from now. That gives us time to position teams, get everyone in place. And Ava, Stryker looks at her. Where does she fit in this? Morrison hesitates. Ideally, she stays in protective custody, safe location, federal marshals, until everyone is arrested. No, Eva says immediately. Meta Blackwood, these people will be desperate. I know what they'll do. I've been running from them for 13 years. Eva's voice is firm. I'm done running. I want to be there when Garrett is arrested. I want to look him in the eye. I want him to know that Ghost Unit won. Morrison looks like she wants to argue, but Thorne, listening on speaker, intervenes. Let her be there, he says. She's earned that much. Morrison sighs. Fine, but you stay with FBI Tactical. Full protection detail. You don't move without 6 agents surrounding you. Agreed. The next 3 hours are the longest of Eva's life. Waiting, knowing that everything is about to change. That years of hiding and running are about to end, one way or another. At 21:45, they load into vehicles. Eva rides with Stryker and 2 FBI agents. They're heading to a federal building in downtown San Diego. That's where Morrison's team will coordinate the arrests, where they'll monitor communications, where they'll wait for the network to panic. The building is nondescript. Gray concrete, tinted windows. Could be any office building in any city. But inside, it's a hive of federal law enforcement activity. FBI agents, U.S. Marshals, ATF. Everybody wants a piece of this arrest. Morrison meets them in a conference room that's been converted into a command center. Screens on every wall showing surveillance feeds, communication intercepts, live maps tracking the locations of all 47 targets. We go live in 5 minutes, Morrison says. Everyone in position. Confirmations come back from teams stationed across 3 states, California, Arizona, Virginia. They're everywhere the network has reach. Eva stands at the back of the room, watching, waiting. At exactly 2200 hours, Morrison nods to her communications specialist. The leak goes live. It's subtle. A message on an encrypted channel that the network thinks is secure, but FBI has been monitoring for months. The message suggests that Raymond Garrett has been arrested, that he's talking, that he's given up names and evidence in exchange for a deal. For 30 seconds, nothing happens. Then the first call comes in, a defense contractor calling a Pentagon official, panicked, asking if the rumor is true. The official doesn't know, promises to check, hangs up, and immediately calls someone else. Then another call, and another. Within 5 minutes, the network is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Phone calls, encrypted messages, video conferences, all of them discussing Garrett, discussing exposure, discussing what to do, and FBI is recording every word. Morrison is smiling, a predator's smile. We've got them. They're coordinating destruction of evidence, discussing witness intimidation, conspiracy to obstruct justice. It's all on tape. How long do we wait? Stryker asks. Until we have enough to guarantee convictions. Another hour, maybe 2. But they don't get 2 hours. At 22:37, one of the surveillance feeds shows movement. A black SUV pulling up to the federal building. 4 men exiting, moving toward the entrance with purpose. Who authorized entry? Morrison demands. No one, Dicom. They're not on the list. The security feed shows the men approaching the front desk. One of them flashes credentials, which is federal contractor badges, saying they're here for a briefing. The guard, following protocol, calls upstairs to verify, but there is no briefing. Lock it down, Morrison orders. Full security protocol. No one enters or exits. Too late. The men are already in the elevator, coming up, heading straight for the 5th floor, where Eva is standing. They're coming for her, Stryker says, already moving. Garrett must have figured out the leak was fake, traced the communication, knows we're here. His operators are drawing weapons, FBI agents are taking positions, but the elevator is already rising. 4 floors, 5. The doors open. Raymond Garrett steps out first. 58 years old, silver hair, expensive suit. He looks like a businessman, a consultant, someone you'd trust to handle sensitive matters. Until you see his eyes, cold, calculating. The eyes of a man who's ordered deaths the way other people order coffee. Behind him, 3 contractors, armed, professional. Ready, FBI agents train weapons on them immediately. Federal agents, hands up now. Garrett doesn't reach for a weapon. Doesn't need to. He's not here to fight, he's here to negotiate. I'm unarmed, he says calmly. I'm here to turn myself in, provide evidence, testify against the network. I want immunity. Morrison steps forward. You're Raymond Garrett. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction of justice, and about 40 other federal charges. You have the right to remain silent. I know my rights. Garrett's eyes scan the room. Searching, finding, locking onto Eva. But before you arrest me, there's someone I need to speak with. Evangeline Blackwood, Ghost 07, the one who survived. Eva feels every eye in the room turn toward her. Stryker moves to block Garrett's view, but Eva steps around him. "I'm here," she says. Garrett studies her for a long moment. "You look different, older, tired, but I'd recognize those eyes anywhere. You were always the best of Ghost Unit, the most dangerous, the one I was most concerned about. You killed my team." "I did." No denial, no excuse, just simple acknowledgement. "They found evidence that threatened billions of dollars, threatened powerful people, threatened me. So yes, I orchestrated their deaths, made it look like an ambush, made sure no one survived, except me, except you." Garrett almost smiles. "That was my mistake. Should have verified all the bodies, should have made sure, but I was assured 8 operators died, 8 bodies recovered, 8 sets of dog tags. I believe the reports." "Why?" Eva takes a step closer. FBI agents tense, but Morrison waves them back slightly. "Why kill us? We were just doing our jobs, following orders. We would have reported through channels. Let the system handle it." "Because we are the system," Garrett says flatly. "Every channel you would have reported through, we own them all." "Not anymore." Eva's voice is cold. "We have evidence, recordings, financial records, everything we need to burn your network to the ground." "I know. That's why I'm here, so." Garrett spreads his hands. "I'm offering a deal. Full cooperation. Names, dates, locations, bank accounts, everything I know about the network, in exchange for immunity." Morrison laughs, a short, bitter sound. "You think we're going to give you immunity after what you've done? I think you need my testimony. Without it, half these people walk. We already have everything we need." "Do you?" Garrett's expression is confident. "These are powerful people. They have expensive lawyers, political connections. They'll fight every charge, and some of them will win." He pauses. "But if I testify, no one walks. That's what you want, isn't it, Justice?" Morrison looks at Thorne. Thorne looks at Eva. The question is unspoken but clear. "What do you want?" Eva stares at Raymond Garrett. This man ordered her team killed, ordered Reed attacked, has spent 15 years profiting from the deaths of American soldiers. He deserves prison, deserves to spend the rest of his life in a cell thinking about what he's done. But he's right. His testimony would guarantee convictions, would ensure that everyone responsible faces justice. The question is whether justice is worth giving this man immunity. Ava thinks about Captain Hale, about the promise she made to honor his sacrifice. "No deal," she says. Garrett's confident expression falters. "You're making a mistake." "Maybe, but I'm not letting you walk away from this. You murdered my team. You don't get to trade their deaths for your freedom. Then you're a fool. This doesn't end with me." Morrison cuts him off. "Save it for your lawyer. Raymond Garrett, you're under arrest." She nods to her agents. "Take him." FBI agents move in, cuff Garrett and his contractors. Read them their rights. Start the process that will lead to trials and convictions and hopefully justice. But Eva sees something in Garrett's eyes as they lead him away. Something that makes her stomach tighten. He's not afraid. The arrests proceed on schedule. Over the next 3 hours, 47 individuals are taken into custody across 3 states. Defense contractors, Pentagon officials, congressional staffers, a deputy secretary of defense, 3 senators. The network is destroyed in a single night of coordinated federal action. By 0200 hours, it's over. Morrison is exhausted but satisfied. "We did it. Everyone's in custody. No one escaped. This is the biggest military corruption case in U.S. history." Thorne approaches Eva. "You should be proud. You brought them down. After 13 years, you got justice for Ghost Unit." Eva nods slowly. She should feel satisfied, vindicated. But all she feels is tired and hollow. Because bringing down the network doesn't bring her team back, doesn't undo the years of hiding, doesn't fix what was broken. "What happens now?" she asks. "Trials, testimony, probably a year of proceedings. But you'll be protected. Federal witness security. Everything you need. And after the trials," Thorne hesitates, "after you live your life, whatever life you want, the government will help you. New identity if you want it, or you can reclaim your old one. Evangeline Blackwood, Navy lieutenant, officially returned from the dead." Eva looks out the window at the San Diego skyline. Dawn is breaking. The city is waking up. Another day, another chance. For 13 years, she's been Evangeline Blackwood, the nurse, the civilian, the nobody. Before that, she was Ghost 07, the operator, the weapon. But who is she now, 3 months later? The trials are ongoing. Raymond Garrett is cooperating despite Eva's objections. His lawyers negotiated a deal. 20 years instead of life. Minimum security. It's not justice, not really, but it's something. The other 46 defendants are fighting their charges. Expensive lawyers, political pressure. But the evidence is solid. The recording's damning. Most of them will be convicted. Eva testified last week, stood in a federal courtroom and told her story, told the truth about Ghost Unit, about the ambush, about 13 years of hiding. The courtroom was packed. Media, military families, veterans, people who wanted to see the conspirators face justice. When Eva finished testifying, the gallery stood and applauded, not because she's a hero, but because she survived, because she fought back, because she refused to let Ghost Unit be forgotten. Now she's standing at Arlington National Cemetery. Section 60, where America's newest war dead are buried. The headstones are white marble, perfectly aligned, thousands of them stretching across manicured grass. And in a quiet corner, 8 new headstones have been placed. Captain David Hale, Sergeant Maria Rodriguez, Corporal James Okonkwo, Specialist Ashley Monroe, Petty Officer First Class Thomas Grant, Staff Sergeant Michael Thompson, Corporal Lisa Washington, Sergeant First Class Robert Yamamoto. Ghost Unit, their real names, their real service, finally acknowledged. The headstones don't say much, just names, ranks, dates, and one line. Died in service of country, Operation Class Action. It's not perfect. The operation is still classified. The details still secret. But at least they're remembered now. At least their families know they died as heroes. Eva kneels in front of Captain Hale's headstone, places her hand on the cold marble. "Mission complete, sir," she whispers. "We got them. All of them. They're going to prison. Your death meant something." She doesn't cry, hasn't cried since that night in the desert with Thorne. But her chest is tight, her throat aches. 13 years. 13 years carrying the weight of their deaths. And now finally she can set it down. Footsteps approach behind her. She doesn't turn, knows who it is by the sound. Declan Reed stops beside her. He's fully recovered now, back to active duty. Maverick is at his side, tail wagging slowly. "Thought I'd find you here," Reed says. "Needed to tell them it's over." Is it over? Eva stands, brushes dirt from her knees. The arrests are done, the trials are ongoing. The network is broken. "Yeah, I think it's over." Reed is quiet for a moment, then, "What are you going to do now?" "Stryker said you turned down the Navy's offer to return to active duty." "Thorne said you're not going back to nursing either." "No, I'm not." Eva has thought about this a lot over the past 3 months. Thought about who she is and who she wants to be. "I'm starting a training program, teaching combat medics, trauma response, canine handling, everything I learned in Ghost Unit, everything I learned as a nurse. Where VA Hospital, San Diego. They're letting me set up a facility. Government funding, Admiral Thorne's pulling strings." She glances at Reed. "I was hoping you might help. You and Maverick. Teach handlers how to work with their canines. Build that bond. Make sure what happened between you two, that loyalty, that trust, gets passed on." Reed's eyes light up. "You serious?" "Dead serious. We lost too many good operators because they didn't have the training they needed. Because equipment failed. Because systems broke down. I can't fix everything. But I can fix this. I can make sure the next generation is ready." "When do we start?" Eva almost smiles. 2 months, soon as the facility is renovated. They stand together at the graves for a few more minutes, paying respects, honoring sacrifice. Then they turn and walk back toward the parking lot. Maverick trots beside them, happy to be with his handler and the woman who saved both their lives. The future is uncertain. The trials could take years. There are still enemies out there. Still people who'd prefer Ghost Unit stayed buried, but Eva isn't afraid anymore. She's done running, done hiding, done pretending to be someone she's not. 6 months after the arrest, the training facility opens. Ghost Unit Memorial Training Center, the sign reads. Below it, 8 names, the fallen. Eva stands at the entrance on opening day, watching as the first class of combat medics arrives. Young men and women, eager, determined, ready to learn. Reed is inside with Maverick setting up the canine training area. Stryker is there too, volunteering as a tactical instructor. Even Cal Sterling showed up offering to teach emergency medicine. Thorne arrives last in full dress uniform. He's retiring next month, going out with all the honors a career like his deserves. He finds Eva outside watching the students file in. You did it, he says. Built something lasting, something good. We did it, Eva corrects, all of us. Together. Thorn nods. They stand in comfortable silence, two warriors at the end of one battle and the beginning of another. I'm proud of you, Thorn says finally. Your team would be proud too. Eva looks up at the sign, at the names carved there, names that will be spoken every day by every student who passes through these doors. I hope so, she says quietly. Inside, the first class is beginning. Reed is introducing Maverick, demonstrating commands, showing the bond between handler and canine. Eva walks in, takes her position at the front of the room, looks at the eager faces waiting for her to speak. My name is Evangeline Blackwood, she begins. I served with an elite unit that doesn't officially exist. We operated in the darkest places, did the hardest missions, and we did them because someone had to. The students listen with absolute attention. 8 members of my unit died doing their jobs, murdered by people they trusted. For 13 years, I carried that weight alone, hiding, running, pretending. She pauses, meets each student's eyes. But I'm not hiding anymore. And I'm here to make sure you're ready for the missions no one talks about, ready to save lives when everything's going wrong, ready to stand with your brothers and sisters no matter what comes. A student raises her hand. What if we're not strong enough? What if we fail? Ava thinks about that night in Iraq, about lying in the dirt surrounded by her dead teammates, about choosing to survive when dying would have been easier. You'll fail, she says honestly. Everyone fails sometimes. People will die who you couldn't save. Mistakes will be made. Things will go wrong. But you don't give up. You learn. You adapt. You keep fighting because that's what warriors do. She looks at the ghost unit names on the wall. We fight. We serve. We honor the fallen by making sure their deaths meant something. And we build a future where fewer people have to die because we were better prepared, better trained, better. The students nod, understanding dawning in their eyes. This isn't just a training program. It's a legacy. After class ends, Eva walks back to the memorial wall, runs her fingers over Captain Hale's name. We did it, sir, she whispers. Not the way you wanted, not the way I wanted, but we did it. Behind her, Reed and Maverick wait. Stryker and Cal stand at the door. Thorn watches from the parking lot. Her family, her team. Not ghost unit, something new, something built from ashes. Eva turns from the wall, walks toward them, toward the future she chose instead of the past that chose her. She's not Ghost '07 anymore. Not just Eva the nurse either. She's something in between, something better. A teacher, a builder, a guardian of memories and maker of futures. The ghosts are quiet now, finally. Outside, the sun is shining. The day is bright. The future is uncertain, but full of possibility. Eva looks at Reed and Maverick, at Cal and Stryker, at Thorn in his dress uniform, at the students ready to learn. She's not alone anymore. She has a family, a mission, a purpose. The past can't be changed. Ghost Unit is still dead. 13 years are still lost. But the future is hers to build, and she's going to build something worth remembering.